Put on a suit, drink water, don't drink and drive.
Game over!
Take it light. Take it.
Now you're more fluent.
He's got three!
Up, Bears.
So this is really good right here. Absolutely. Let's do it.
You know, I think it was Drake who said something like better late than never, but never late is better.
Never late. It's definitely better. 100% it is. Yes.
Now host in the building.
Pew, 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 pew.
You know, what can I, hey, stuff happens.
Mm-hmm.
You don't even have to do that. Just go like this. Watch what happens. Just point.
Oh, I ain't know that I could do that. All right.
Yes, sir.
I did not know that I could do that. Pew, 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 pew. That's all I got to do. There it is.
I forgot I had that.
There it is.
Man, listen, it's my fault. I'm sorry. That's all that I need to do, right? Is just admit your mistake and apologize.
What do you say, Tone? When you fail, win?
Fail fast, baby.
Yeah, and just move on. It's really that simple. So, Tone made me more fluent earlier today.
I forgot about that.
It was something that I did not know that I was made more fluent about.
I don't know that you didn't know so much as I don't think most people think of those qualifying tournaments as FIBA sanctioned things, right. But the Tournament of the Americas, the Pan American Games, all of the Euros, all of that stuff is sanctioned by FIBA, and they give gold medals. So
that part I didn't know. The Tournament of Americas, I did know about him. I didn't know you get a gold medal if you win it, though. I did not know that. That part I did not know. Because when I saw the 2-0 in FIBA, I'm thinking, wait a minute. Okay, so I know what the FIBA World Championships are. Okay, that's every 2 years after the Olympics.
Yeah, I think it's the year of the Winter Olympics, right?
Yes. So I'm thinking, okay, FIBA. So in 2014, he was long gone from the league at that point. And in 94, he was retired that year. And I know in 86, that's what Kenny Smith and Muggsy Bogues, that team, they ended up beating the Yugoslavian team. So they had Petrovic. And I'm thinking to myself, what other – I know about the Pan American Games in 83. And then you brought up the what is it called again? The championship?
The Tournament of Americas?
I did not know that you got I didn't know that was a FIBA thing. I just thought that was part of the Olympics. I didn't know that it was a separate thing when you had to qualify.
It's a separate tournament.
I did not know that. That was news. That's why I was asking. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm in the dark about this right here. So what is this other one that I'm missing?
But I got to be honest. Even though, listen, I love being right about stuff, but it's a little to use those as gold medals. I don't even like you using the Olympics.
Right.
I've told you this before, and yes, it's only against Team USA where I think, yeah, it's Team USA. You want a gold medal? Duh.
Right.
Like, I know that. Am I? Keep me honest. Am I being overly harsh by saying when you've got that much of an advantage over the rest of the world, like you shouldn't really brag to like that we won a gold medal, Team USA? Yeah, you should have.
Well, first of all, Tone, let's get to the bottom of you being the almost harshest of critics, and the standards for you are way different than other people.
Standard is high, absolutely.
Standards are way, so the tournament of America's gold medal, it's like, okay, so like, why are we having this conversation about the Tournaments of America gold medal? Like, why is that?
Yeah.
Not only that, like, why are we having a conversation about the Olympic gold medal? Like, you should win it anyway. Why
unless you're one of those other teams, right? Like if France had beaten Team USA this year in the gold medal game, and Wemby went for 35, 14, and 7 and 5 blocks or something, I'd be like,
it's a pretty big deal. Yes,
that's a big deal.
Yes,
Team USA wins. I'm like, and as great as Steph Curry was, as great as LeBron was, as great as whatever, I'm like, yeah, this team's so good. They could bench Joel Embiid. They could bench Jason Tatum. and still win. That's how good this team is. So I'm kind of like, nah. I'm really upset about this, by the way, that this broke. I don't, for just it's. I can't let it
I'm
go.
not letting you off the hook with that one. That's your fault, Tom. That's
I know.
100% your fault. Okay.
100%
clear
my
on
fault.
that.
It's actually funny. Speaking of that thing that TikTok that I made you more fluent on.
Mm-hmm.
Someone in the comments was like, "What are you talking about? You're like family. What do you mean? You guys don't even know each other."
What? Are you new here? That should be the tagline on that comment. Remember when you hear people saying, "Are you new?"
I feel like I got to respond to that. I feel like you should respond to the comment.
Are you new here? Like you've never been here before?
Kids call him Unc. My kid, I even said it in the video. My kids call you Unc. Just call me if you're not sure.
Yeah, what are you talking about?
I feel like I always should have a non-basketball, non-sports related topic to kick off the show.
Yeah.
And I was worried. I'm being honest. I was worried because I was like, I don't think I have anything that's not sports related.
Mm-hmm.
I have something that's non-basketball related that I wanted to bring up. And then I was looking through my phone and I found this. And I hope I still have it. I hope I still have it. Because sometimes I see it and I'm like, oh, we're never going to talk about this. And I delete it. And then I look and I see, nope, I still have it.
Right.
So I want to share this. This is for anyone. This is for anyone with money. That's what we'll call this.
Moolah.
This is for anyone with money. I'm going to show you a picture. You're gonna like this. I feel like you're gonna like this. Or maybe I don't know. Actually, we'll see.
Let's find out. Yeah, let's find out. The suspense is killing me, Tone.
This is what's been dubbed as the best divorce of all time.
The best divorce of all
the
time.
best divorce of all. Any guesses as to why this is the best divorce of all time?
Who is that, first of all?
Well, back in 1984, Gabriel is the gentleman on the left, the older gentleman. He met Christina at a party, and they really hit it off.
Yeah.
They ended up getting married, even though she was 30 years younger than him.
Yeah, I'm good.
They were happily married for 20 years. However, Christina eventually decided that she wanted to get a divorce, probably because he was 195 years old.
Yep.
So after 20 years of marriage, she said she, went to her lawyer and he gave her some shocking news. And that was that they were already divorced. In fact,
what?
Gabriel, 4 months after they originally had gotten married, went to the Dominican Republic for vacation, and he divorced her because in the Dominican Republic, it is the only country where you can get a divorce and only one party needs to be involved or aware. He said he did this. He said he did this so quickly after so that when she decided to divorce him and try to take his money, she would have no claim to it.
Zero.
And so Gabriel was given the award of best.
Absolutely. You thought Gabriel knew what time it was. I got a younger chick. She gonna leave me anyway. So in the process of her leaving me, I'm caked up out here, and I already had all of this dough before she showed up. And she thinks she gonna run off with all my money. No, I'm not trying to hear that. So I like to have a divorce right now.
Now I understand, and I say this with love. Why Ticket moved to the DR? Could you imagine? You could just go down there on your own and be like, I want to divorce. Like, they don't even have to know. Just boop.
And it's done.
It's done.
It's completely over with.
Completely over. And you're free and clear.
I would love to have seen her face when she found out that, okay, first of all, you guys are already divorced. And you've been divorced for like 20 years. Just so you know.
Yeah. You know what her face, her face would have been like? I should have gone through and killed him like I was planning in the first place.
Yes, that's probably what you was trying to do. That
not just half.
So you've been divorced and you figured did they have any children or anything like that, Tone? You know,
that's the extent of the story that I know.
Right.
But I think
she thought she was coming off some dough, though.
I think at his age, they probably did not have any money. The sports story that I wanted to share with you, because listen, we missed a lot of stuff, I think, at the Olympics.
Mm-hmm.
But you know that there's like shooting. I know last week I showed you the terrible breakdancing people.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know that this, they have this shooting event? And I just want to point out, like, the male and the female people who compete in this have, like, you can see the gun, it's weighted, there's a handle, there's a wrist brace. Like, look at the glasses that he's wearing up here. You can see the glass, the headphones for like, that's the gold medalist that you're staring at right now.
Right.
That's the gold medalist. I'd like to direct your attention from the gold medalist to the silver medalist, who walked up with absolutely no equipment, hand in his pocket, and just pat, 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 and won silver.
With his glasses on. That was his weapon right there. That's all he needed.
Team Turkey, let's be honest. One, I don't know if you should go back, because from your expression, it feels like you didn't watch this.
I did not.
So let me tell you something right now. You need to take this guy. You need to actually just go watch it, I think is what you need to do. And I'm going to make us a little bit bigger so we can, there we go. That's so much better.
I am familiar a little bit with because these are the people who end up working for the FBI, like the sharpshooters.
No, let's be honest.
That's who these people are.
No, this dude straight up is a trained assassin.
Yes.
Like, let's be real. This dude's a trained assassin. But if you go back and watch it, you honestly think he's gonna go like this, bang, 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 and then like throw it up in the air and catch it and go bang, bang, bang with this other hand. Like, that's how cool. Yeah. At the end, that's how cool he looked when he did this. And I tell you, with everything that I am, he purposely won silver because he didn't want too much attention. He's still getting too much attention, but he thought, let's go get a silver medal. And just like, it looked like he walked off the street and was just like, pop, 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 pop.
Look at the hand in his pocket. Yeah. That's all I need to see right there. He got the hand in his pocket, like, excuse me for a moment while I get busy. I'll be right back. I gotta go handle something real quick.
This is the coolest dude I've ever seen in my life.
What the hell? Like, pop, 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 pop. Okay. Done. Okay, we're done. Wow. And yeah, these are the people, like you said, Tone, with the gold medalists. Those are the people who end up working for, like, the CIA, for the FBI. That's where they recruit them from. Sharpshooters. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where they end up going.
I very much liked what I saw there. So I thought I'd share it with you because
he reminds me of Mariano Rivera. And for those of y'all who are unaware, Mariano Rivera was a closer for the Yankees. Every time Mariano Rivera came into the game, he always reminded me of somebody who was doing something right before he came out. Like, hey, I'll be right back. Let me go handle this real quick. I'll be right back. Hold that thought. Don't go nowhere. That's kind of how he struck me. And this dude right here, just looking at him, he looked like he was doing something that he want to get back to. So he came out here real quick. All right, let me go handle this and I'll be right back. That's what he looked like. I'm
telling you, the Turkish government went to him and said, hey, we need to have a couple of medals. Can you just go grab us one in shooting? He's like, fine. Make sure you get me my coffee, right? He's like, okay, silver. All right, peace.
Like, I suppose I could go handle that real quick. No problem.
He's my new favorite dude. I love this dude.
Real. Yes.
So it was just an interesting thing that I saw. So that's our non-NBA and NFL stuff. But we got a lot of topics. I have a list here. And I want to start off with, I don't have this to share, but we can talk about it because I think everybody has Twitter. So NBA Central put this out. Damian Lillard saying, if LaMarcus Aldridge would have never went to San Antonio, we would have won at least
minimum.
once already,
Mhm.
I would have came into my own, but he was that good.
Mhm.
Now, is this more of a he's trying to compliment LaMarcus Aldridge because people forgot how good he was?
Mhm.
Or do you think he's lost his mind and he's delusional and actually thinks they would have won a championship?
Well, if you think about during that time, I think LaMarcus left. I think he left Portland in 16 to go play to go to San Antonio. And if you think about the teams that it was going on during that time, so they wasn't beating the Warriors. Let's say for the sake of argument, LaMarcus Aldridge stays on that crew. They're not beating the Warriors. That's the team that's the team to beat. I think that they still would have been a good team. I don't think that they beat the Golden State Warriors of all the teams.
But
Now,
maybe he thinks he's better than Curry.
no,
Aldridge is better than Draymond, and I don't know what CJ McCollum
yes.
is Clay like.
Now, I will tell you this, Tone. I do think that the competition aspect of it from where Portland is, I think that they would have been better, and I do think that they would have had a better shot at being more competitive. So, like for example, in 19 in the Western Conference Championship, do they get a game with LaMarcus Aldridge? No,
Sure,
no. And
yeah,
the reason why
a
they
game,
don't
a
here's
game.
why they don't get a game, Tone.
Oh no,
Damian Lillard,
2019.
yeah,
Oh yeah,
2019 when they played in the Western Conference Championship.
no, no,
Now
no.
remember, there's no KD in that series. But
Yeah,
even still, right? Even still, they don't get a game. The reason why they don't get a game, not KD, I'm sorry. Dame Lillard got his ass kicked all 4 games by Steph Curry. Clearly outplayed him. Now in 16, he put up a better fight in 16 than he did in 19.
Mm.
100%. He put up a better fight. He was better in terms of him getting downhill, going after Curry, being more. I feel like he was more assertive in that series as opposed to in 19, where Curry basically just put a target on Damian Lillard's back and went after him. So they put the rest, both Damian Lillard and not Damian Lillard. I'm sorry, Tone. Both Klay Thompson and Steph Curry put the rest who the best backcourt is in the NBA. They shut the door on that in that series. Now, if you add LaMarcus Aldridge to that crew, they were building something, right? They were building something. So CJ McCollum was getting better, Dame was getting better. You keep LaMarcus Aldridge. Okay, now we have a more competitive Portland Trailblazers team. I still don't think that they beat that. I still don't think that they beat that Golden State team. That Golden State team was a juggernaut.
I think they get a
Add
game
KD to that roster.
Without KD, I think they get a game though. Without KD, I think they get. I think they get.
I'm not sure about that.
Now, had they taken the other center from Denver instead of Nurkic, we might be having a different conversation.
I think we're having a way different conversation if they decided that we're gonna hold on to this dude instead of this dude. So I'm gonna hold on to Joker instead of Nurkic. Which I mean, it's Tone to be. If we being honest, it sounds like it's nothing today. Like, what were you guys thinking? But I mean,
no, that was a like he was a second round pick, and go look at what he did in his first year or two. He wasn't like
right.
Unless you were probably in the building,
right,
watching him every day. You weren't thinking this guy's gonna develop, and I think you could have had a package. And then if you had him at center, LaMarcus at your 4, and then a backcourt of CJ and Dame. Now we're cooking. Now
we're having a way different conversation.
We
got Joker at the 5. We got LaMarcus at the 4. We got both CJ at the 2 and Dame at the 1. Yeah, we're cooking with gas now, Tone. Yes, we are.
So when players leave, whether now when I say leave, aren't there meaning they we talk about KD being injured, Marcus Aldridge being traded away, they leave in free agency.
Sure.
How does it affect the guys that stay?
Well, look at a prime example that I would always give, because when I think about these guys leaving, what they leave behind, and what they leave behind is what could have been, right? So a prime example would be when Shaq left Penny Hardaway. When he left Penny Hardaway, well, what could have been with that unit? They could have been a champion. They were already a championship contender. You know how I feel about getting swept, Tone. I feel like you're not close, but I do feel like you're there, right? I do feel like, you ended up making it to the finals. Excuse me. So now Shaq stays. We're getting better. Shaq leaves. Okay, now more of the burden is on Hardaway. Hardaway ends up breaking down. sooner than later. So that clearly affected him. Another prime example, Tone, would be Marbury leaving Kevin Garnett. When Marbury leaves Kevin Garnett, this team now, they're basically scrambling because I thought that they had their point guard and their big man of the future. I thought that they had the tandem that they were looking for. But instead, when Marbury leaves, now what that does to Garnett is that leaves Garnett there to pick up the pieces. So when you have guys like that, when they leave, the effect on other guys' careers is astronomical. I mean, Kevin Garnett didn't get out of the first round of the playoffs for 7 years, Tone. 7.
That's crazy.
I'd like to think that if Marbury stays, they got a lot better chance in being more competitive in the Western Conference if Marbury stays, as opposed to him leaving after 2 years. Right? He's gone after 2-3 years. I mean, they had made the playoffs. And then he's gone because I couldn't see myself living in Minnesota for 7 years. But you want to live in Jersey, you got a break.
Really? You'd pick Minnesota over Jersey?
With Kevin Garnett?
As a Jersey guy? No, you said I'm asking you just living.
I'm considering what was going on with Garnett and considering what was going on and what they were trying to build in Minnesota. Yes. Because when they lost Marbury, this whole thing goes south, Tone. What happens now is now they're colluding and they're scrambling, trying to make up things, and then they end up losing all their draft picks because they tried to sneak Joe Smith into the Minnesota Timberwolves. Yeah. They end up losing all their draft picks. This is a small market team, Tone. Nobody's coming up here in terms of free agency. So this is how we got to build our unit. Unfortunately.
Yeah, that was a bad look. That was definitely a bad look.
Yes.
For me, it's such a tough question to answer because what happens, well, it depends on who's coming in, right? Like when Shaq gets traded out of LA, they were horrible. But then Powell comes in and everything's great again. I think, Kawhi leaves Toronto and they actually win a higher percentage of games the following year, but they're no longer a title contender. Like, right? Because regular season is very different than the playoffs. It's not anyone, but there are a lot of teams that have won a lot of games in the regular season, but they're not.
Sure.
Like people bring up that Atlanta team that had 5 All-Stars, but that was not a team that anyone thought was going to win a chip. Period. Ever.
Now, Tone, to be honest with you, Tone, when I look at that Atlanta team, I don't think that they get enough credit for how good they were. They just ran into Cleveland. That was the problem, and they ran into James.
Can you honestly tell me you looked at that team? And I'm not saying what you're saying is wrong, but I'm saying, can you tell me honestly you looked at that team and thought that's going to be our NBA champions for the next 2-3 years?
Could they win it? Could they win it?
Did you actually think that? Because I not for 1 second did.
In 15, I thought that they had a chance to win it. Not again. If they could have avoided Cleveland, I thought they had a chance to win it. Considering,
if you honestly did, I can't remember anyone actually saying that at the time. But okay.
The reason why, and here's why I'm saying that, Tone, because if they could have avoided Cleveland, I couldn't see anybody beating Cleveland. If Cleveland, very much like what happened last season in the playoffs. Very, very much like what happened last year. When you see Dallas,
not in Denver, if the Lakers don't face Denver,
I think they got a really good shot. And you see what happens. Is Dallas in the finals if Minnesota doesn't bounce Denver? I'm not sure about that. But the fact that Dallas was able to avoid them, and I'm actually on record saying this to you, Tone. Teams duck smoke all the time. They duck smoke all the time, and I know for a fact that Atlanta, as good as they weren't looking at Cleveland like, yo, we could beat them dudes. There was a lot of those guys thinking, man, if we could avoid these guys, we got a really good shot at winning in the East.
Okay.
We do. And they were 14 games over 500 against the Western Conference too. So
you mentioned at the beginning that I'm a very tough grader, scorer, or whatever you want to call it. And,
at the top.
And I actually think a lot about how you give me a hard time about the Hall of Fame and how I'd have like 1/10 of the people that are in the Hall of Fame. If it was an NBA only Hall of Fame,
there'd be like 100 guys. Tone has one for every 100 guys. Tone has one guy. That's Tone. Not 5 guys. One guy for every 100.
And I think about it a lot, and I keep wanting to tell you this, that I kind of came up with something one day, and I think it's why I think this way. And I think the Hall of Fame for me is it's a next level. So remember how there's all the players in the NBA, and there's some that are below average.
Sure.
We know who those guys are, right? There's role players. There's average players or average players, and then maybe role players on top of you know who the role players are. Just beneath them are the guys who are like just raw, like they get a minute if someone gets hurt or whatever. And below them are people who are just roster fillers, right? So there's roster fillers, I guess, below average players, role players.
Right.
Then you get into so then the categories maybe are like all-star, star players, superstar players.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, you move up that ladder. And once you've become a superstar player who, again, I only think there's maybe 2 or 3 in any given year that are actually superstars, because we confuse the star player of a team. And there's people who legitimately think there's 30 superstars, because if this player, Jalen Brunson is a superstar because he's the best player on the Knicks. Incorrect. He's not. He is a star player. He is a great player. He is not a superstar for me. That being said, so for me, I don't have 30 superstars. I have, maybe 15 stars. There's maybe 10 guys who have the capability of being superstars, but in any given year, typically, sometimes more, sometimes less, 2 or 3. And then if you are a superstar who's had a superstar career, how you distinguish yourself from those guys is by becoming a Hall of Famer. So that's why I think my number's so small, is because if I don't see you as a career superstar player, and then when I put all those superstars together, you somehow separate yourself from them, that's the Hall of Fame for me. Is you're above the superstar.
That's who you're matched. So I'm matched. So Mike, the criteria for me is the superstars during the time that I was playing. How am I?
Did I separate myself, or did I do enough in my era that even makes me look, when I compare it to another era?
Sure.
To be like, wow.
Right. Was I the superstars during this era? If I'm considered in that category, where was I compared to Kevin Durant? Where was I compared to LeBron James?
For an example, I hate to pick on this guy, but I know he's your guy. Dominique Wilkins was never a superstar. For me, he was a star, which means he shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame. Right? Because he was never a superstar that's separated from his era. Now, unfortunate, he was on a team that didn't have a lot of support, so he didn't get the rings and the recognition that maybe he could have and should have. And he also played in an era that had Magic, Bird, Jordan, Barkley, Isaiah, right, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Like, he played at the worst possible time. So the reason I bring that up is my next biggest issue with, other than the Hall of Fame, is retired numbers. And I don't want, and I've told you this, I don't want anybody's number being retired. Anyone. I personally like, and I can't believe I'm saying this because you know how I feel about the Dallas Cowboys. I personally like how the Dallas Cowboys just have a ring of honor that recognizes their greats. And then if someone wears that number, it comes with a certain level of responsibility and prestige, right?
Like 88?
So, like 88. So, from Michael Irvin to Des Bryant, right? Des Bryant, CeeDee Lamb. Like, when you got that 88 on your back, you're being held to a higher level. I love that. They are retiring everybody's number. And this one's hard for me. This one's really, really hard for me because one of my favorite players all time. 2, obviously, on my favorite team of all time.
Yep.
3, a guy that we don't win rings without. We do not win rings without.
Right.
On the Lakers, for those that don't know who my team is.
Yeah.
A guy who I've reached out to a couple of times, possibly about being on our show, who may not come on after this. But
yeah,
please.
he will. Yes, he will. I got you, brother. Yes, he will. Yes, he will.
Michael Cooper is an 8-time all-defensive player, a 1-time defensive player of the year, even though he was playing 23 minutes a game that year, a 5-time NBA champion, who I will admit I've just finished saying Lakers don't win without his defense. and averaged 9, 4, and 3 for his career. I love you, Michael Cooper.
Mm-hmm.
Your number shouldn't be retired.
Now, what I want you to do, Tony, is I want you to rewind, like you just talked about when you talked about Dominique Wilkins, compared to the other superstars in the league. So compared to Bird, compared to Jordan, right? Compared to Magic, compared to Isaiah, compared to Barkley. Where was he during that time? Well, he was the guy chasing, right? He was the guy chasing Jordan for all of the years when Jordan was averaging 37 and 35. Nick was right behind him as a bucket getter. So where was Dominique Wilkins? This is what I'm talking about, Tony. We're talking about the Hall of Fame. What are you famous for? Because that's what the Hall of Fame is really about. It's the Hall of Fame. What are you famous for? Dominique Wilkins was a bucket getter. When he retired from the NBA, it was only 7 guys in NBA history who scored more points than him. And I did it in an era where points came at a premium. So I'm going up against Bird. I'm holding my own. I wasn't the player that Bird was. No, I was not. I wasn't the player when I showed up in 82. I wasn't as good as I think I was. I wasn't as good as Doc at that point. I became better as the years went on, as he got older. But guys like George Gervin, I became better than those guys. I became better than Bernard King. I became better than all of these guys. It's just that, to your point, the guys at the upper echelon, Bird, Magic, okay, I wasn't better than those guys. However, I still was consistently a top 10 player during that time. So now let's fast forward to Michael Cooper getting his jersey retired. Well, what is Michael Cooper famous for? Tone, I was a defender. That's who I was. I was a lockdown defender. And as a lockdown defender, there aren't many guys during my time. I showed up to the Lakers in 79. From 79 to 90, that's 11 years. I was an elite defender for 8 of those 11 years. Tone, I was first team all NBA. I was first team all defense 5 times. That's the same as Jabbar and Olajuwon. Now, would I say he's the same defender as Olajuwon? Absolutely not. I'm not doing that. However, what I do say is, what is he famous for? He's famous for being a defender. If I'm thinking about the defenders in the history of the Los Angeles Lakers, where would I put him? I put him at the top of the list. Just from guard defenders, I think it's Bryant and it's him.
Do you know what that means then? That means that Minnesota needs to retire Rudy Gobert's number when he's done.
And they will.
That's
depending on how depending on how long he plays there, Tone. Because if he only plays there for a year or 2 years, no. But I think we're those two things are apples and oranges, Tone. Because we're talking about Michael Cooper, who spent his entire career with the Lakers. 11 years he was there, from start to finish. He didn't play for anybody else. 12 seasons.
12, actually.
Yeah, he showed up with Magic. Right, he showed up with Magic and retired the year before Magic did in 91. So, with that being said, my entire career, my entire body of work is with this one team. Not only is with this one team, it's with the Lakers and the prestige that you guys have with Jerry West, with Elgin Baylor, with Jabbar, with Magic,
exactly.
With all of these guys. And me, which what I'm famous for is being a defender. I'm at the top of that list. Just like you have a guy in your organization who's the best shooter, just like you have a guy in your organization who's the best scorer, just like you have a guy in your organization who's the best rebounder. That kind of stuff matters.
And so you're saying he's such a good defender, because this is how I look at retiring numbers, and this is why I say I don't like it. You're telling me he was such a good defender, such an iconic Laker, and that's the thing. Let's be clear. Great defender. You heard all the praise I gave him before, right? This is killing me to say. He was such a good defender, such an iconic Laker.
Sure.
That no one should ever wear his number again?
Yes, Tone.
Yeah, I don't.
Yes. Because when I think about what he did for the Lakers, right? When I think about this is the standard. Bryant, and before Bryant showed up, it was him. And not only that, Tone, remember, in the last 40, if I'm not mistaken, since 79, it's 45 seasons. Your team has won the NBA championship 11 times. I was on half those teams.
Was he the best player on those teams?
I was the best defender.
Was he the best player on those teams?
I was not, but I was the best.
I was
arguably the best
player on that team.
The second best. Now, hold on.
Was he the second best player on those teams?
I was the best at what I did.
Was he the second best player on those teams?
He was not better than Magic. He was not better than Jabbar. He was not better than James Worthy.
So at best, he was the fourth best player on those teams. And I'm giving him credit and saying they don't win those chips without his defense. But is there other players that could have gone in and played 23 minutes a game and given you, what the numbers he was giving you? And I don't know. Now, maybe not the intensity, blah, blah, all the intangible stuff, but I really struggle with retired numbers because I've told you some of the all-time greats that I don't think should be retired. And I look at it the same way as I look at the Hall of Fame. Like I see people in the comments saying, and they give me Dominique's numbers and they said, that's a Hall of Fame career. And I say, yes, by the standards of numbers, it is. But by my standard, which I understand is crazy, my standards is all-star, star, superstar, Hall of Fame.
Tone, how close is an all-star and a star in your estimation? When we're talking about because
you have to be a star.
Tears for me.
To be a star, you have to be a perennial all-star.
Okay.
And then you need to add in all defensive or all NBA teams selection, like multiple team selections, and you are the leader of a team. And the only thing that's no, because a superstar has all of those things, but also has the ability to be a leader of a championship contending team. And I'm again not picking on Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson is a star, but he is not leading the Knicks to a title. So he falls short. Now there's other things too, but he falls short just for that one thing alone of being a superstar. So it's close. Listen, we're star player, superstar player for me, but I have, unlike most people who just kind of throw out, oh, he's a superstar. Oh, the Lakers have LeBron and he's a superstar, and Anthony Davis is a superstar, and Austin Reeves is a superstar. I've heard that, right? Like, no, I don't just
have not heard that.
I have heard that. I have heard that. I don't just throw that word out there. I actually have. Now, you may disagree with my logic, and that's okay. But I actually have some thought and logic to where I put these people.
Right.
And so and that's why I say I love the Ring of Honor, because I think Michael Cooper should be honored because, like I said twice already now, and this will be the third time, they don't win without his defense. But I guarantee you, if Worthy, Magic, Kareem, well, they're a bigger hit than him. So to be the fourth best, most needed, most important player on a team, and I'm getting my number retired, I have a fundamental, I see a fundamental flaw in that logic, because then if he's doing it, right, like OKC, Nick Collison, that's ridiculous. The bar.
Now, wait a minute though, Tone. No, Tone. I think that we got to rewind here, because when you're talking about Jabbar, you're talking about Magic, you're talking about James Worthy, those guys were the best players. Who was better than me at what I did? Even though you're talking about how much he played, right? I can get with that. But I played an integral part, and nobody else was doing what I was doing. Michael Cooper at that time, we can make a legit argument.
He should be honored for that. He should be honored.
I can make a legit argument that during that time, he was the best perimeter defender in the game. That includes Dennis Johnson. That includes Sidney Moncrief. That includes Alvin Robinson. That includes these guys. And it can be a legit argument. Michael Cooper, his on-ball defense, his ability to play in transition, his ability to block shots at the rim at 6'6". Not just his ability to block shots at the rim, his ability to cover bigger guys. There weren't many guys being able to do that. Michael Cooper did that. We hear all the time about Kobe Bryant saying Tony Allen was his toughest cover, right? Tony Allen was the toughest guy. Now that anointed
defender,
that was his toughest defender, sure. Now, so that anointed Tony Allen as now a top 15 defender. Well, Larry Bird said Michael Cooper was the toughest guy he went up against. Now, if I'm dealing with Michael Cooper,
pause right there. So because Kobe said Tony Allen was the toughest defender, his number should be retired?
That's the thing, Tone.
On that team,
when you get anointed, when you get anointed by a superstar player like Bryant, right? When you get anointed by a superstar player like Bryant, I think that should be universal. But I don't want to use that argument solely more than I want to use what I did as a defender, because that's what I'm known for. Michael Cooper was known as a defender, and not just a defender. I was an elite defender, and I wasn't an elite defender for a year. I wasn't an elite defender for 2 or 3 years. I was elite for almost a decade. There aren't many guys in Laker history. I ain't even talking about in other teams. I'm talking about the standard of the Lakers. There aren't guys who did what I did in this uniform. Tone, I don't know if you noticed, but we're talking about 15 guys in NBA history have 8 all-league defensive nods or more. I'm one of those guys. I am one of those guys. With that also being said, 5 of them was first team. Jabbar and Olajuwon are the only 2 guys. Jabbar and Olajuwon are 2 guys that I could say that I got the same all-league defensive nods as them. That makes me in the upper echelon of defenders for a long time. So when we're talking about being great, I was the epitome of that at what I did when I played for the Lakers. And it led to something. It wasn't
so
empty.
that no one should ever wear your number again.
It wasn't empty,
I don't see
Tone.
that.
Yes.
I don't see it. I don't see it. I don't see it. I just I don't see it. Especially because who is he defending? Because apparently, according to Anthony Edwards, he was defending guys who had no skill.
Oh my God, this is incredible.
Because, quote unquote, this is Anthony Edwards speaking, they say it was tougher back then than it is now, but I don't think anybody had skill back then. MJ and Michael Jordan was the only one that really had skill. So that's why when they saw Kobe, they were like, oh my God. But now everybody has skill.
Which I can get with that. I can get with the logic that
Everybody?
I can no. What I can get with the logic is there's more skilled guys. I ain't saying everybody.
Of course, there's more skilled guys. I struggle with this one because this is where the you're an old head starts to come out. I think there are more guys that have more skills, but there are certain skills that have been lost.
Such as
boxing out, footwork, passing. Like there's a lot of things, posting up. Like there's a lot of skills that are gone in today's game. Now, you want to talk about shooting, especially 3-point shooting? 100%. It's better. You want to talk about ball handling? It's better, but there's also been rule changes, right, that have helped, right? When I could only dribble like this, going back to the 50s and 60s, as opposed to this, right? It completely changes what I can do with the ball. And I rarely agree with Isaiah Thomas, but if you watch them when they would do certain things, whether it was like exhibition games, when guys used to go to like Rutgers, those types of, Kenny Smith will tell you this, etc. If you can go watch old tapes, right? You saw that they had certain things in their bag, but if they did it in the NBA, they'd get called. Right. So while I agree, let's be very clear, more skilled players today, 100%. Each player has a bigger, I think, selection of skills, right? But that was also because, well, if you were 7 foot plus, you weren't allowed to dribble the ball for the most part. You were asked to back to the basket, learn how to post up. If you were power forward, you were rebounding. If you were a 3, you did this. If you were a 2, you had very assigned roles, and they forced you to do things, and they just didn't let you do anything else. It doesn't mean you couldn't. It just means if you did, you'd get pulled. So I know I'm talking a little bit out of both sides of my mouth, but I agree today's players are more skilled. Right. But they've also lost some fundamentals, some footwork, some positioning, post up, like the mid range. We've all seen that chart that shows the mid range from and now it's completely gone. And guess what wins championships, guys? It's mid range. Go take a look. Go take a look at the shot charts of the teams that win and where they score from, and getting fouled on those 2-point shots, the effect it has on the game. Go check it out. So yes, I agree they're more skilled, but to say that no one, like Michael Jordan, was the only skilled player,
that's what I want to. That's what I want to tackle. The idea that no one was skilled. And Anthony Edwards, if you ever hear this, I want to make sure that you hear this loud and clear. Drexler would have bust your ass. I'm going to say that to you right to your face. Clyde Drexler would have bust your ass. Not only would Clyde Drexler have bust your ass, Joe Dumars would have bust your ass. Mitch Richmond would have bust your ass. I'm just talking about I'm just talking about guys at your position. And now what you did when you were playing against the Denver Nuggets, when you were switching on to Jamal Murray, Fat Lever would have gave your ass hell. Guys like that, and he wasn't Magic. He wasn't Stockton, but he would have given you hell. I've seen you come off a pick and roll, not being able to read the defense, not being able to knock down, not being able to knock down an open shot, fumbling the basketball, dribbling the ball out of bounds, not being able to know which direction to go in. When you take 2 dribbles, not being able to pull up and be as clean as you are. So when you want to talk about guys being
IQ another, I don't know if that's a skill, but IQ is another thing that's lacking. But go ahead.
Not only that, when I think about guys being skilled, specifically skilled at one thing, those guys back then, Joe Dumars was a damn good ball handler. Not only just a damn good ball handler, ridiculous defender. Same thing with Clyde Drexler. I don't know if you know this, Anthony, but Clyde Drexler is the only guy in NBA history when he retired in the top 10 all time in steals. Never one time made the All-League defensive team, which is ridiculous to this day. Never made the All-League defensive team.
That's kind of like Tim Duncan never winning a depoy, yeah?
Like never winning it. Never one time made the All-League defensive team. That's because he's got to go against guys like Jordan, right? That's who he's got to deal with. He's going up against guys like that. But when I think about you saying stuff like these guys weren't skilled, and then Kobe Bryant shows up and everybody's like, oh my God. Well, no, there were plenty of guys who were awesome back then, who we were in awe of. You, on the other hand, I think that your skill level is of the time, but I think that the guys back then, their skill level is also of the time, and it could also relate to today. I think that you are Mitch Richmond, except you're just a better athlete. Every time I watch you play,
a worse shooter.
Yeah, that's what I think you are. I don't think you can. I don't think you shoot it. I don't think you shoot it like him, but I think you're a better athlete than Mitch Richmond. That's why I compare you to.
I just want to say one thing to Grande Jones. Go watch the 92 finals Bulls, because I know people don't watch regular season games, so it's easy to find this game. Go watch Bulls and Trailblazers, and watch Clyde go left multiple times and even lay it up with his left hand on with Jordan defending him.
Oh, that's a narrative. That's what that is.
Let's stop.
That's a narrative. That's a narrative that he heard.
Yeah.
Somebody say, and he's just going with it. He doesn't know. There's no way that you can play that long, be an elite 2 guard at that point. And let's just say, for the sake of argument, that's true. Jabbar only had one move. Stop this and you stop me. So what? So what? Stop it then. If I can only go right, or if I can only go left. Ginobili was extremely left-handed. James Harden is very left-handed. I don't see James Harden going right that much. That's not to say that James Harden doesn't use his weekend, because James Harden can absolutely use his weekend.
That narrative of couldn't versus didn't or whatever, I find that interesting. It's like, if I can go right and I can do more, I can shoot. It's easier to shoot because I'm going to my strong hand. Like, why are we like, oh, they didn't have it? No. Like the Jordan one killed me that he had no left, and then you see like 1,000 highlights, and you're like, he still had no left because
that was only for 2 years.
Oh, and the best was because they say, oh well, the Jordan rules from the Pistons was push him left. Well, yeah. Anyone who's ever played basketball, Jay, which way do you try to send everybody that you're guarding?
To their weekend.
Well, their weekend, because it's their weekend for a reason. No one's 50-50. Even people who are ambidextrous aren't. So it's, hey, go left. Why? Because if he goes left, he has to come back right to shoot. Why? Because he has to shoot with his right hand. I'm sorry. I don't. Do you know any player that today that dribbles right, shoots right, dribbles left, shoots left?
No.
Thank you. So it's drive him left, force him to the lane, knock him down. Like, you're skipping the other 4 rules of the Jordan rules. It's we can't. So yeah. So Anthony Edwards, I think, a little bit misinformed.
And so is Grande Jones when he says that he's bodying those little guys. Grande, I don't know if you noticed, but Clyde Drexler was 6'7", 235 pounds.
Clyde Drexler would body you, because Clyde Drexler was bald at 13. He had man strength.
He was 6'7", 235 pounds. He was not a small dude. I
tell everyone the story. When was the first time? Did you ever experience like dad man strength?
Yes, from my uncle. Yes. I was 13 years old. Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
You can share it if you want. If not,
my uncle. You get around that age, like around 13, 14, 15, when you think that you can take the old man, or you think you can take. So I'm like 14. 15, I'm 6 foot tall at 14 years old, and I think I could take my uncle. That was, of course, we get in the house, and I get in his face, and he pushes me up against the wall with one hand. And Tone, it was like a stone that I couldn't move. I'm trying to move it as much as I can. I think I'm this big badass, and it was like a stone that I couldn't move. And he said to me, quote, "Don't you ever get in my face again." And that was the end of that. We're done.
My dad's about 5'5", 150 pounds soaking wet.
Mm-hmm.
And it's fun. It's almost the exact same story. 13, 6 foot tall, talking too much smack. And I swear to this day, like, he lifted me off the ground with one hand and put me up against the wall and said, "Don't." Now he swore I won't do that. And he also swore in Greek. So it would, and was like, "Don't you ever do that again." Da, 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 da. It was my fault. It was in the wrong. I can look back and say that now. And I swear to you, he lifted me off the ground. And I was like, "How the hell?" And then I was like, I should have known a guy who like breaks stuff off with his hands. You remember those bikes, those 10-speed bike that had those metal teeth for the pedals? He would ride those barefoot. I should have known.
That's a different dude. That's a different dude.
Right? Yes, I should have known. That was Clyde just always had that. The second you lose your hair, I think you get that. We have a couple more on our list of topics, and then I'm going to send send you guys the link for you guys to jump on. However, there's something that wasn't on our list that was sent to me, and I'd like you to indulge me for a moment, if you would, because I want to ask you a question, and I actually feel like I'm going to defend LeBron James in this. However, and this is a Photoshopped picture, I guarantee you. Reports have come out of the Olympics that after his big game, Steph Curry was tested, but as was Anthony Edwards, Kevin Durant, etc. But who was not tested is obviously the story now, was one LeBron James. My question to you is not anything that's going to get us in trouble. It's story, non-story.
It's always a story when it's James. Always. Yeah, I always feel like it's a story when it's LeBron James. And we can't like enjoy, being in the Olympics and winning a gold medal without it being something else. Same thing happened, I think it was 2 years ago, when Donovan Mitchell went for 71. Okay, we got to make sure that you're not too good, right? So now you got to come in here and you got to piss in this cup, because we got to make sure. Same thing happened with Damian Lillard when he went. I think Dame went for like 70 in Portland. He got the finger. Yeah, he got the finger wag. They come on in here. The Olympics are very, very strict about that sort of stuff, especially in a time like this. They're very strict about that stuff. And then what we don't know is if James had been tested previous to that, right? We don't know that if he wasn't tested before the game, he might have been tested earlier in the week. He might have been tested before that game, as opposed to the rest of those dudes who were tested after the game. So we don't know that. But it's always going to be a story. It's always going to be a story. What I don't like is, I don't like the fact that if that's the case, why are you testing these guys after the game? Why isn't this going on before the game?
Well, there was some scrutiny. There was some scrutiny from players or athletes. I shouldn't say players, athletes, about getting tested before, because it's a blood test and it might affect the way that I play, and that's not fair. But the person who sent that to me said the question was, how come we've never heard of LeBron being tested? And I have two answers, and I say, well, one, because that's their policy. They just don't report on it. Two, why don't they? Like, why don't they? If you really want to prove that there isn't an issue, why not test everybody? And why not post it? This is the dates that they were tested on.
The
And
reason
everybody
why,
gets
Tone, is
tested,
'cause-
and everybody gets tested at least 3 times a year. One near the beginning, one in the
Right.
middle, one at the end.
the reason
If you
why,
really want to put it, because if not,
Mhm.
there's going to be people like Kevin Garnett who just make accusations, who just say, well, never been tested. There's a reason. Too much money in it if they get caught.
Right.
I've always been of the mindset that I said, just make HGH, EPO, yeah, just make it legal. I don't care.
Mhm.
I'd rather be regulated and a doctor doing it than, when you hear stories. I know it's old. Mark McGuire and Jose Canseco sticking a needle in each other's butt in
Right.
the Oakland Athletics locker room.
Mhm.
But otherwise, like, when you leave it up for debate, like, why leave it? Oh, if you really don't have a problem,
Mhm.
then why not just make it so that it's not a problem?
The reason why is the same reason why when you watch the news, Tone, what's on the news when you watch the news? It's bad news.
Bad
So
news.
if we test James, if we test Curry, if we test Bam Adebayo, if we test all of these guys, we have nothing on these guys. I mean, that's
Good.
not news. That's not news. Like, we wouldn't even know that if Curry wouldn't have came out and said, "Yo, they made us piss in the cup after the game." We wouldn't even know that.
You're telling me if LeBron James, or we're going to use him because he's the most popular. If LeBron James was tested 3 times a year publicly, blood tested, HGH, EPO, because steroids, nobody uses steroids anymore, guys. Get over that.
Enough of that, guys. Nobody's
No,
sticking
yeah,
them.
like
Nobody's sticking needles in
it's
each
not
other.
1982.
No, that's not going on, guys.
So like and now that's like, damn, like what he's doing is already crazy impressive.
Yeah.
How impressive is it if you take away all the naysayers?
I think it would get old, Tone, to be honest with you. If they ended up testing him and we saw it like more than once, more than twice, which I'm sure he gets tested plenty. But even if he did get tested and we saw it, it would get old. Like and not only would it get
No,
old,
it doesn't. You don't have to. I'm not saying go like have a press conference and
sure,
jab him in front of everybody.
right,
I'm just saying, like, everybody gets tested. Here's, if you want, you can go on. Listen, I don't want to bring this up, but in the NFL, there's a diversity report that comes out every year.
right,
I'd say 99% of people don't even know it exists. But every year they do a full deep dive study about how many coaches are minorities, how many of the players, the issues, how they can get more coordinators, and then eventually head coaches and even owners get more of a minority presence when 70% of the league are minorities, and
right.
2% of the coaches are. They have this full report. Okay. Now, in the first couple of years that they did this, it was a big news story. Everybody ran to it and started reading it. They've done it every single year since. No one ever talks about it anymore.
Right.
Now, that's a bad thing because that's something important that should be.
Right.
But same thing. You do this report and say, okay, the Western Conference is getting done now. The Eastern Conference is being done. And the report's there. You can go to NBA.com/
right.
drug test report and go watch, go see it. There you go. It's done. It's done.
But then, and Tone, you're a conspiracy theorist. So if that does happen, right? If we do get James tested, not necessarily tested on that.
Let's be clear. I'm not just saying James. I'm saying everybody.
We're just using him as an example
Yeah,
because he's the most popular.
yeah. Okay.
But if you do get him tested, what's going to be the logic? Well, who's doing the testing? And how often is he getting tested? Did this guy do the testing?
But that's what I'm saying. We're saying it's 3 times. It's beginning,
Right.
middle, and end, and it's this company that's a third party company.
But it will be some sort of conspiracy theory.
Then you'll still see people say they fraud the test.
Yes, it'll be on some level. There'll be some conspiracy theory. He owns some stake in this company. He knows somebody.
Clutch
yeah,
owns
he knows somebody. The third party when the Balco thing was going on was somebody who knew his wife. That's how he got, and that's how he got tied up in that through her business, right? Somebody who knew his wife, and he's connected to his wife. So now he's involved in this. When in reality, I ain't got nothing to do with this. Nothing to do with this. On top of that, Tone, the FBI who took down Balco, wouldn't they want, of all the people, wouldn't they want, if this is going to be a story, to make sure that we have the right one. Because what we don't want to do is we don't want to have egg on sure, so we don't want to have egg on our face. We don't.
No, they don't know. No, because someone's paying everybody. At the end of the day, you follow the money, and there's too much money to be lost. There's too much money to be lost, and I think that's why they don't want to know. They don't want to know because, and I'm not accusing anyone. I'm just saying they don't want to know because if the wrong person gets caught, that could be
detrimental.
That's why Jordan gambling suspension is still a story, right? It's still a conspiracy because the money behind it makes sense. Well, you don't want the best player, the face of your league, known that he was suspended for gambling. That's why it still has legs, even though you hear a ton of reports that that's not the case. It still has legs because, well, is there a reason? Is there a money trail that would suggest that that's why they would cover it up? There is. Okay, then that's for most people. You know, the first thing any you know, Mrs. Fluent is an investigator.
I do know that. Yes.
And the first thing is when something bad happens is follow the money.
Yes.
Every time a husband is murdered, guess what? 9 times out of 10, it's the wife who's getting the $10 million life insurance policy, right? Or the family, or it's not always. There's some random acts, but typically you follow the money. You typically find your answer. You know, I to this day will tell you. To this day, I will tell you, and I'm going to get a lot of grief for what I'm about to say. But you know, I'm a conspiracy theorist.
Mm-hmm. You are.
Mace killed Biggie. Why are you laughing? Who gained the most? Puffy and Mace. Because the second he was gone, who became the feature? Mace. Who made all the money from Biggie's tapes? Puffy.
I don't know if it was he did make a mistake when having Biggie. Biggie ain't had no business in California. None whatsoever.
I don't want to go down that path. So we have a super chat, and then we have a couple more topics. David said, so my friend that went to the Fanatics Fest over the weekend said that KD was being an a-hole, no surprise, to fans. Why is such a great player like him seem miserable? You want to tackle that one first?
Well, I think a lot of you guys forget that these players, football, baseball, basketball, doesn't make a difference. These athletes, they people, and they want people to love them, and they need people to love them. And KD is one of those guys. And when he hears that, as much as he's heard it about how soft he is and how thin his skin is, it starts to wear off on him. It starts to wear on him to the point where now KD was the original who wanted to be loved. So now he's acting like, well, you guys hate me anyway, so I might as well hate you back. When in reality, I really don't want to. I want to be loved by you guys, and I want you to love me.
So KD is 100% soft. You are correct, Ox. Not only is he soft, his whole family is soft. So much so that when you criticize them, like I do, with facts, not opinion, his brother will hitch up you in your DMs. Here's Tony Durant trying to block what he said, but I took pictures, bro. Trying to be all okay. Mm-hmm. Tony Durant all crying about why are you so hard on Kevin? Shut up. That's why. So why is Kevin Durant look miserable? Because he is miserable. Why is he miserable? Because he doesn't understand what I know. And here's what I know. You can play a game that you love. You can make hundreds and hundreds, heck, billions of dollars. But life isn't the same if you don't have like a wife and kids and someone to share all of that with. And this man, as much as I give him credit for loving basketball and putting basketball first, doesn't have what's really important in life, which is a loving, supporting family around him. And that's why he's miserable, because for all of those hundreds and millions of dollars, he clearly can't get hair plugs or some lotion for them damn legs. And that's on him. If he had a wife, I guarantee you his hair would look better and his skin would look a lot more moisturized. Mm-hmm. That's all I'm saying.
There you go.
That's all I'm saying. Thank you for the super chat. Mm-hmm. You agree with it. That's why you're not saying nothing. I can't. When his brother came after me, I could not believe I could not, because what I said too wasn't even bad
Right.
about Kevin Durant. It was just, I forget, it was a factual. Someone said something that was incorrect, and I corrected them. I said, no, actually, da 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 da. And his brother went like ballistic. Blah, you don't, blah, 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 blah. Like, dude, like we share a name. It's Tony, dude. Just like, just chillax, bro. One more.
Yep.
I know you've been following this on my TikTok.
What do we have? Uh-oh.
I know you've been following this on my TikTok. Who drafted Scottie Pippen?
With the 6th pick in the 1987 draft. Is it the 5th or the 6th pick, Tone? The 5th pick, I'm sorry. With the 5th pick in the 1987 draft, the Seattle Supersonics select Scott Pippen.
Scott Pippen.
The reason why I know that because I was actually there.
You were at the draft?
I was there. I was in the Felt Forum in New York City. Yes, I was there. 14 years old. And that's when the draft was free. Yeah, I was there.
No.
We were like, who the hell is Scott Pippen? We had no idea who that dude was, though. None whatsoever. None.
Do you know why there's this picture of him and Olden Polynice switching hats?
I do. Yes. Because they were traded.
Because with the 5th pick, as you mentioned, Scott Pippen, which I think is hilarious, by the way, when David Stern, Scott Pippen from Central Arkansas. The Seattle Supersonics draft him. 2 picks later, the Bulls draft Olden Polynice, and then they traded them.
Yep.
And that's why they did the hat switch. And I have been trying, and I don't let go. You know, I want to teach people stuff.
Yep.
I have been trying to teach this dude that he's like, well, if they left him with the draft, they got him in the draft. And I'm like, no, getting someone in the draft means you drafted them. Correct. Now, they got him on a draft day trade, but I wouldn't say, did the Toronto Raptors get Davion Mitchell in the draft because they made a trade for him on draft night this year?
No,
they got him in a trade. It just happened to be during the draft or on draft day, whatever. So I don't know. Should I just give up? Like I've been trying to get him to understand this team drafted them and then they traded them. So yes, you left the draft with that player, but that's not drafted by.
Sure.
Should I just let it go?
Tone, you can say it 5 times, you can say it 500 times. There are some people who just, 1, won't get it, or 2, people who just want to argue. That's it. When you're on draft night, if I'm drafted to the Seattle Supersonics, that's who I got drafted to. Period. I was traded later, but originally this is where I was drafted to.
Well, yeah, and I try to say it's like, you know, it's like, well, they traded his draft rights, and I'm like, right,
exactly.
How do you trade someone's draft rights? By drafting them. Do you see this?
It's not that difficult, guys.
Like I brought the horse to water. I got their head down, the mouth is open, the tongue is out, and they don't know how to drink it. And it's I need to let it go. Okay, I need to let it go. This is an interesting one. We were talking a little bit about the Olympics.
Tone, this guy asks Dom Dewsbury. He asked, did you see the 90s Bulls play in person, Chill? I did. Yes. And we had him on. Tone and I had him on with Haley. His name's Terry DeHare. We grew up together. He used to play for the Clippers.
Oh, yeah, that's right. How is Terry doing? That was a good interview.
Yeah, Terry's doing good. He played for the Clippers from 93. He played for the Clippers from 1993 to 1997. Then he played for the Sacramento Kings. And when the Bulls came to town in 96, I saw them play in the sports arena. And then when he went to Sacramento, the last dance that year, I saw them play that up in Sacramento too. I was living in California at the time. Yeah. So I did see him play twice. But as you were.
I saw them more. I that's interesting. I saw them live more than you from Canada. That's actually kind of crazy. I actually I got to see them against the Heat in a playoff game. Banked the Heat in the first round.
Nice.
Yeah, that was my what would you call it? Oh my God moments when I got to put the mic. Remember they used to put the mic on the jerseys when in the top, for the post game.
Yeah,
I got to mic up. I got to mic up MJ.
Did you?
And it was Mike move.
Yes, put the mic on him and get out the way.
Mike would move. I'm like, I've never moved so fast. Yeah, that was a cool game. That was good to watch from that standpoint.
Olympics MVP is so new. This is only the second time they've done it in sort of the modern era that it's not something that people even think about. Really, I'm not even sure there's a trophy. I said, how is the MVP chosen?
This part.
When I was told that it's media voting, which the media could vote on. There was a QR code allegedly on the wall. And I was like, okay. And like they opened the voting like 2 days before the end of during the semifinals. And I was like, well, why would you vote now? But I was told media voting and quote, FIBA experts. I was like, FIBA experts.
That's weird.
That's nebulous.
So maybe it was mellow.
It may have been like 2 or 3 guys who they asked, like, hey, who should win it?
What does that even mean, Tone? FIBA experts.
That's the problem.
Yeah. Like, who are these FIBA experts, and what qualifies you as a FIBA expert?
Nothing. Nothing. I will say this just for Ox.
Shut your damn mouth.
That's something to say about that team. Yeah, so it's just more and more. Although I made the case, I think very well that if there was going to be an MVP, it should be LeBron. There's a whole lot of question marks whether there should have been an MVP.
Oh, you and I actually had this conversation. I didn't even know it was the thing, and I had to go do some research and had some people explain it to me that, okay, well, the first time it was given out was in 2004.
Manu Ginobili, Argentina wins,
but they didn't do it in 08. They didn't do it in 12. They didn't do it in 16. But then they do it in 21.
And I've said that to you before. Well, when the Olympics get delayed by a year,
right?
They figured let's do something,
right? So I didn't know it was a thing. I'm like, what? When did being the MVP of the Olympics become a thing? It sounded like the in-season tournament. Like it kind of just got thrown on me. Like now I gotta now be involved in this. Like what the hell is this?
Well, you know why, right?
I don't know why, Tone.
Oh, I'll tell you.
LeBron James.
Oh, that's what explains it. Oh,
do you know that there's people? Do you know that there's people? And you, even though you have him as the GOAT, do you know that there's people now saying, well, he's got 3. He's got 3 gold medals and Jordan's got 2. So now he's the GOAT.
And let's put an MVP trophy on.
So you're telling me that's the deciding factor? Like you had Jordan, and now that he won his 3rd gold medal, that's what tipped the scale.
That's what happened with Steph Curry and Magic over the course of the Olympics. So now I'm getting comments and things like this. Is Steph Curry better than Magic now? I'm like, give me a break.
Because he won a gold medal. Like,
give me a break, yo.
It's just like it drives me nuts. It's like I have this opinion, and anything that this person does, now I'm going to use that as well. Now you have to believe that what I believe. No, I never have to believe what you want to believe. I'll tell you the same thing I told Ox.
Shut your damn mouth.
I love Ox, by the way. I miss you, Ox. I don't know. Come on, man. Let's talk again. Rasheed Wallace, speaking of people who should shut their damn mouth, Rasheed Wallace believes that the Wizards, Michael Jordan, was more dangerous than the Bulls, MJ?
To be honest with you, Tony, I don't know what that was about. I would like to know where he was going with that in context. Like what did he mean when he said that Jordan, MJ, 38-year-old Michael Jordan was more dangerous? Would it be because he just came back to the game and he was trying to prove that he could still play? Was he on a bad team and trying to show everybody that I can still uplift a bad team and turn this into a good situation? And that's a dangerous player. But that guy isn't more dangerous than the guy who had never won and trying to win. That's not more dangerous than the guy who won and wanted to keep that legacy going. That's not more dangerous than the guy who came back to the game with a completely different unit, and then won it again. That's not more dangerous than that guy, because I'm trying to protect my legacy. Don't get me wrong. There are some things that do fall in your favor. I won't argue that. But what I will argue is when a guy is trying to do something that he's never done before, that guy is not more, that guy is way more dangerous than the guy who already did it and trying to do something else.
I have a simple answer.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
Ox says he was saying that he was stronger with a better jump shot. Not better, just more lethal. Still doesn't make sense, Ox. Yeah, there's nothing, he was more dangerous. Huh?
No.
Like, no. There's no case that you can make that. Now, if you want to say, and I don't agree with this, if you want to say the second three-peat Jordan was more dangerous because although he lacked the athleticism he had in the first three-peat, he was a much better shooter. The fadeaway jumper that he perfected that just couldn't be stopped, like those types of things. Okay, you can make that. I disagree, but you can make that argument. But the Wizards Jordan, no, I don't like I said, I don't.
No way.
I don't know.
That's suspicious.
Very weird.
That's weird.
Very much so, Cardi. Yeah, very much so.
We have a super chat from Lemac. I wanted to say Lemac because I think that would have sounded more, I don't know,
Fluent.
It's more fluent. Bonjour, comment ça va? A little French, but it's not. It's Lemac. Too fluent. Okay. Too fluent about getting upset with people not understanding common sense. After all, it's not easy banging your heart against some mad buggers.
Tone, common sense ain't that common. Let's make sure we clear on that. Common sense is not that common. No, it is not.
Make sure you send me that $10. It's Canadian. It's not worth anything to you. It's not.
I can't do that with it.
It's like $6.
Anything with that.
You want to hear something funny? Yeah, I'm not upset. I'm not getting upset. I just like if someone lays out a bunch of facts to you, like I showed him the clip of David Stern announcing that Seattle, like with his 5th pick, Seattle selects Scott Pippen out of Central Arkansas. I showed him the NBA.com where it shows Pippen was drafted by them, and he still
wasn't drafted there. No.
He refuses. He's like, he left on draft day, therefore they got him in the draft. I'm like, no, they got him on draft day, but they didn't get him in the draft. I just, I don't. I don't know what to say.
Like I said, Tony, there's some people who, no matter what you put in front of them, they'll always come up with something to refute that because they just want to argue. It's clear. You heard David Stern say that he was drafted.
What it is? Is that what it is? They want to be. They need someone to talk to.
Yes, 100% they do. Because how many times have you put facts in front of people? Like the one guy that you were talking to, the one guy that I catch you going back and forth with Dominic, something like that. And
Dominic.
That and you can't explain it any clearer, Tone, to him when you explain it. And I'm thinking to myself, Tone, why are you even still dealing with this dude? Like,
because it's in the reason if we go back to the beginning,
right? And
I know it's evolved and changed over the years, but Sports Fluent was meant to be, and I might actually go back to this where I start back in I keep saying I'm going to do it and I don't go back to 1947 and just recap every single year and talk about the rule changes and all this kind of stuff. Because someone asked me about the history of hand checking. And so I did I think it's like 5 minutes long, which is probably why nobody, you don't get a lot of views when it's that long, but there's a lot to talk about. So I give them kind of the whole history of hand checking and how it's used and how the rules have changed. I don't know if you know, the first rule ever for hand checking was in 1976, 77. So really there's 30 years where, and then they kind of went, hey, you can't stop someone from moving forward. Like that was the hand checking rule. Right. And then there isn't another hand checking rule update until 1994. Almost 20 years later. So I enjoy that part of it. So I kind of do it. Oh, hello.
Hi.
How are you? Are you going to bed?
Yeah.
Okay, say what's up, Taco Chill.
Hello, dear.
Well, chill.
What up with you?
Show them what you made for me?
I didn't. Sure.
What is that? It's a horse.
Oh, yeah.
How'd you make that?
She went to this. What's it called?
I don't know.
You don't know what it's called. She went somewhere and painted it. Okay, go to
Good
sleep.
Good night, dear.
Yeah. So Dominic is just like, it's the trade thing, and I'm like, I'm not saying Cleveland didn't want LeBron James and trading him. I'm just telling you officially, because you said he's never been traded. Just to be correct, he has been traded. Cleveland traded him to, and he's like, well, it's a sign and trade. I'm like, yeah, just listen to the second part of.
He still was traded though.
He was traded.
He did do them a favor, but he was traded.
100%.
He could have just walked out the front door.
Everybody, love you.
Yep.
Yeah, he could have just walked out the door for sure. But
walked out the front door, but he did them a favor.
Reasons. There was reasons for him and Miami and Cleveland to do it that way, and they did. And it doesn't mean they didn't want him. It didn't mean the decision didn't happen, but technically,
right.
Actually, no, not technically. I say technically, and people take that
he was traded. There's no technically.
100%. Yeah,
he was traded.
I say technically because it's like, if we're being like for real, because you want to talk about the reasons why, I want to tell you that it happened.
Right.
Bob's been waiting patiently. I know he's your friend, so I'm going to bring him up.
Yep. Hey guys,
what
how
up?
You guys doing?
What up?
Hey, Fluent, real quick, I just want to tell you about the Olympic doping, because when I was in Colombia, we were trying to make handball legal. It's all on the internet. And when we looked it up, you couldn't even smoke a cigarette. That was illegal, but coffee was legal. So if you look at it, nicotine, nicotine is actually a drug that can slow up or speed up your heart rate.
Oh, that's right.
Can actually keep you at calm. So if you were to smoke a cigarette and be an athlete, you would also fail a drug test. That being said, you would hear, hey, he failed the drug test, not any specifications, because under the law, they can't release that. So all you would know is that they failed the drug test. So all these other people talking about the drug test, that's just other people that were there saying stuff. That's why in Olympic sports, they can't do it. And number two, with when it came with KD, I'm not going to talk about him personally, but I'm going to talk about Randall. When he did the middle finger game, everybody remembers that. His grandmother died that night. Yep. So he wasn't into it, and everybody was booing him. So he got emotional, and they got the best of him. Yep. So for the most part, most people don't really know what some of these athletes are really in their head, so they kind of get out of it. And I kind of wanted to say something to you, Chill. Stop letting.
Before you do that, can I just jump in, because there's another one that, and this guy's near and dear to my heart, and I always bring it up. Like, everyone gets on Allen Iverson for practice. We talking about practice, and they don't know the story behind. Had lost his friend. He was, all the stuff that happened before that and the reason why. So you're right. They forget the human aspect of it. They think it's just go play and make me happy. But yes, go ahead. I'm sure this is about Chill being too sensitive.
You read my mind. I was gonna say you read my mind. See, this is why I like you. You came and told. I'm always gonna say this. You came and told me OG was coming to the Knicks. You know how to make a Knicks fan proud. Thank you. But you gotta stop letting Swiper walk over you, Chill. Especially when you're talking about Randall, man. This guy doesn't know nothing about what he's talking about when it comes to the Knicks. I even told Bob I'll take him to Oxcourt, but I know he won't show.
Sorry, what's Oxcourt?
That's where if you have any issues with anyone basically on the panel, or if there's any issues, you go to Oxcourt and Ox takes care of you, and you guys go backstage and go
for real?
Yeah, it's very good.
I feel like they got a whole bunch of other drama they need to deal with, because everything on my feed on YouTube is popping up about PC drama. But okay, Oxcourt, there we go.
Yeah, but with the Olympics thing,
I'm in.
Ho. Let's rewind for a second.
Okay.
Is the consensus that I'm getting walked over? Really?
No. It's just that you a nice dude. You like the dude that's like, when we playing basketball, you like, man, that's a good shot. Do it again. I'm gonna block you. You know what I'm saying? Like, you kind of make people get comfortable, and then you start sunning them. But the problem is the Swiper always asks you like 50 questions, and you're only on the first question. And sometimes you just like stop talking, because that's how Swipe is. That's what I mean. It ain't you. It's his game. He won't stop talking and let you answer one question. So for you, like how you are right now, you just sitting there listening and following. It comes off like you're weak. It's not that. You are a good guy. You let people take their takes off. Sometimes you got to throw them elbows, man, like Hakeem and Ewing. You know what I'm saying? You can't be letting them down in the box like that. I know you a good dude. You like Dr. J.
So I got pushed back a little bit more than what I'm doing.
Especially with Swiper, because I'm going to tell you something real quick about Randall that even Swiper don't know. When it comes to defense within, let's say, seven feet from the rim, before Randall got hurt, he was the prime defender in that box before Mitchell. So when he gets attacked at the paint, he was 3 times more likely to be the guy that stepped up in defense before Mitchell got hurt. But you don't hear about that because Swiper don't know that. Just like how Swiper don't know that you can't double team. He says floor spacing with Randall. You can't double team Randall and Brunson. What they're going to do is overload one side on the right and let Brandle and Brunson run, because what's going to end up happening, once you set that trap for Brunson and Brunson gets the pass into Randall can also kick it back out for the 3. So I know you know all of these things, but he just was like, oh, you know how he is. He's like a typewriter. But it's all right, though. I love you guys. Thank you for having me on. Go Absolutely. New York. Go New York.
Thanks for the doping tip. I didn't know that. I did not know that. That's news. Thank you. Appreciate it, yo. Absolutely.
I appreciate that as well. It's interesting. Speaking of New York, so I told you, the reason the show started late, I was out having dinner with my brother, and he says, he's asking me about my trip to New York City, and we talking. He goes, "Oh, did you hit up my boy Harris?" And I said, "No. Why? Who's that?" He goes, "Oh, he lived like just where our house was, behind the house behind our house, when we were kids." And I said, "Oh, I didn't really know him." He goes, "Oh, you should have asked me. He works for ABC. He's got all these hookups for sporting events. Good Morning America." I'm like, "What?
What? What are you doing? What are you doing?"
No, I didn't know. Speaking of New York and New Jersey, the King is in
What's
the
up,
building.
brother? Yeah, absolutely. What's up, brother?
What's going on? How we doing?
Thank
Thank you for having me on.
What's up, brother?
Listen, first of all, Chilltown, you being at the 1987 NBA draft, again, that just, near and dear to my heart. You might have been sitting next to Spike Lee.
14 years old. Me and my boy Antoine jumped on the PAP train and went over to the Felt Forum in New York
Were
City.
you sitting with Spike? Were you sitting with Spike?
No, I was not. But yeah, me and my boy.
I feel like you had a cameo and She's Gotta Have It. Be honest.
I was not in that. No, I was not. But yeah, me and my man Antoine Dasher, we jumped on the train and went over to New York City and went to the draft. Yes, we did. As kids.
I jumped on, started talking to Chilltown the other day. We had a, speaking of elite scorers to go out there and get a bucket, and had to talk about Bernard King. But when referencing Bernard King and the New York Knicks in the 80s, we also had to have a reference for Michael Ray Richardson. We had to have a reference for the ship be sinking. Listen, today, my commentary, Tony, you make an outstanding point related to Kevin Durant.
I always do.
Okay. Now you made an outstanding point, and let me discuss that first of all in terms of the how do you say it? What did we learn in The Wire, Chilltown? The job can't save you.
No,
the job can't save you.
Nope.
You know what I mean? The cuffs go on, string a bell, and then you're sitting in a room by yourself. Okay, and you're back to square one. Okay, so the job is not going to be able to save you. And to Fluent's point, you referenced that Kevin Durant has a little bit of that syndrome that got to a junior soprano, right? I give my Wire references. Now we're going to go to the Sopranos, talking to the greatest shows of all time. Okay, Wire, then Sopranos. In that, he doesn't have that other thing that gives LeBron James joy later on in his career, right? LeBron is going to play 4 more years, in my opinion, minimum 4. Okay, because Bronny's coming up through the ranks, and then and then Bryce is coming up right behind him. Okay, and again, LeBron not having a father growing up, you know what I mean? And so he's going to be there for his kids. He wants to give them what he didn't have. And for Kevin Durant, you know what I mean? There's no bottom line. George Clooney, he got it going on later on, but I think that's a serious point, because Kevin Durant, for as dedicated as he is to the game of basketball, as much of a basketball nerd and a basketball, workaholic that he is, you see the consistent reports that off the court, he's not a dude. He's not, you know what I mean? He has a little bit of, he's standoffish and off the court. And that's not just with the Suns. You've seen it in other places, particularly later on in his career. Now, I know you got other callers. I got to let them get in. Fluent, you went overboard talking about that man's ashy ankles. Okay? you went overboard talking about
Tone's a troll, though, Andre. You know who Tone is. He's a troll. Tone is 100% a troll.
He went overboard showing us those damn.
Yes, Tone is a troll, though. You know who Tone is.
The compression pants didn't get all the way down to the socks. Okay, so we saw that the man not putting the Nivea lotion on it, you know what I mean? But you didn't need to put that out there to the people, Tone. You made a great point. Kevin Durant, it's never too late. Find a life partner, get on a good path. It's gonna help everything else that you're doing. Okay. And do the, you know what I mean? We're not gonna talk about the lotion but get your elbows too, get it right.
Find your Savannah. Find your Savannah.
But before you go, Andre, 1990-91, St. Anthony's High School. Best
Oh, yeah, that's all day.
We had the best team in the country. I'm
I'm
dying on that hill. I'm dying.
But before you boot me out now, Chilltown, was Kevin Boyle at St. Patrick's when you were there, or did he come to St. Patrick's later?
He was later.
He was later.
He wasn't there.
Okay, because Kevin Boyle and Hurley went toe-to-toe a number of years. That was the national championship game in the Catholic League Championship, 1 and 2. And then Kevin Boyle, of course, took his talents to Montvert. People know Kevin Boyle at Montvert and Joel Embiid and Cade Cunningham.
Right.
But
that was later.
That was later after battling Coach Hurley for all those years. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Later. Be easy, brother.
Sports PSP, long time no see, brother. With the super chat. Thoughts on what Tua said about Brian Flores? Have you seen?
I didn't. What did he say about him?
Criticizing Brian Flores, hated playing for him, hated how he coached him.
Really? Wow. They won 9 straight. Yeah, they were on their way to doing something special. I mean,
no,
they lost early.
That was the year before last. If you recall, last year was the new coach, but.
No, I'm not talking. I'm talking about Brian Flores. That's the black dude. So
yes.
And there was a stretch where they had won like 8 or 9 straight games with Brian Flores on the crew, and they had started like they lost their first.
He never believed in Tua.
See, that's the problem right there. So when you have stuff like that, which at the pro level, people do not think that at the pro level that's going on. 100% it's going on. These coaches can ruin these guys. And not only can they ruin them, young quarterbacks get ruined in the game way more than any other position.
Now, I'll say this, and I don't know how many people are going to agree. I think it's just you keep it to yourself and you move on. Personally.
Right.
Now,
was it necessary? Was it?
Yeah, like I'm sure. I know people were asking about it, and they're kind of saying, what's the difference between, now and when Brian Flores was coaching, and I get it. And for me, I talk about the positive things that's happening now with McDaniels and where the team is going. That's just me, and maybe that's an old school mentality where I'm just like, there's a lot of stuff going on, I think, in everybody's life with certain relationships. And I've learned through experience, don't. There's no need, because now it's like when things go wrong, right? Like, Brian Flores said that I couldn't do this. And then you go out and you do that. And he's like, or don't do that. And like, see, Brian Flores was right. See, maybe he was right with what he was telling you. Like, it doesn't need to happen. If you need to get it off your chest, go talk to your therapist. That's all. So while he was probably justified in what he said and it was true, I don't think you need to say it.
Probably could have kept that at home.
We're going to get to Leaf, X, and then 2 more after that. However, quick interlude to do some AFC. Don't worry, this is a speed round. I'm going to give you 4 teams in the division. Mm-hmm. You're going to tell me fast, no long soliloquy. Who's going to win this? Who's going to win the division? The AFC East. We've got the Jets, the return of Aaron Rodgers. Miami, obviously Tua. The Buffalo Bills. Bye-bye, Stephon Diggs. And the New England Patriots. Goodbye, Judon. Who wins the division? Just so you know, if you haven't been following the preseason, the Jets and Miami are both 2-0. Not that preseason matters. And the Bills and New England are 1-1.
I think Miami's the team to beat in that division.
Even with Aaron Rodgers healthy and the Jets?
Yeah.
Jets, Jets.
No,
really?
We've seen 40-year-old quarterbacks. We've seen what they look like. Tom Brady's an anomaly.
Okay. I'm gonna go with Miami too. I think Tua stays healthy. I think Tyreek Hill, Waddle, and OBJ is their 3rd receiver now.
The third guy.
And they still got that backfield. I just think as long as Tua stays healthy, I think that's the team to beat. AFC North, Baltimore. They look good, by the way. Cincinnati, they don't look good, by the way. Cleveland, Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh, FYI, I guarantee you, if not week 1, by week 3, Justin Fields will be their starting quarterback. Who wins the AFC North?
Baltimore.
Cincinnati.
Okay.
Joe Cool, baby.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll go deeper into some of these. Like we're an hour and something in. So AFC South, Jacksonville, Tennessee, Houston, and the Colts.
Houston.
Houston?
Yep. Houston wins that division.
Come on.
Yep.
Wow.
Houston wins that division.
I think you're right. And I'm starting to think Baltimore maybe too, because I completely forgot about Derrick Henry.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's going to have a year.
Yes,
I think Derrick Henry is going to have a year. Pick him up in fantasy if you haven't already. The AFC West, Denver, Kansas City.
Easy. Stop right there, Tom. Kansas City's winning that division. Enough.
What? I thought you loved the Chargers.
Kansas City's winning that division. Enough. And I'm a Jim Harbaugh. I got a soft spot for Jim because he used to coach the 49ers. Kansas City's winning that division.
Leaf, save us.
What up?
Chargers is winning that division. They gotta have a Harbaugh bowl. Buffalo's winning their division. Yeah, they gotta have a Harbaugh. They gotta have a Harbaugh versus Harbaugh playoff game. They leaked the next 5 Super Bowls. You ain't see it?
Why do they have to have a Harbaugh playoff game? Did we already see that in the bowl game?
Yeah,
we did, and we're gonna see it.
So why do we have
see it again in the playoffs?
So why do we have to see it again?
I want to be. Hold on. Would that have been called the Hard Bowl?
Hey yo! Boo! Tomato, garbage, trash.
Throw yourself out. Throw yourself out. Throw yourself out.
Trash.
You just messed up my whole train of thought. Throw yourself out. Nah, the reason why they have to have it, because the NFL does exactly what the NBA does. They produce storylines. That's why. So
the fact that Harbaugh back in the league, that does help.
There you go.
Yeah, Harbaugh.
There you go. So to get to the AFC East, that division belongs to Buffalo. New England can't cheat anymore. The Jets are sorry after Thanksgiving, and Miami. The Jets are absolutely sorry after Thanksgiving. Sorry to my father. He's been a Jets fan all his life. He ain't gonna see them win. Yeah. He 60 years over 60 years on this earth. He ain't seen them win since the simple Super Bowl 3 when he was a kid. In Miami, they don't play a physical brand of football. Tua is tuna fish. We all know that. And Brian, everything that he said about Brian Flores, I ain't really on, but that's tit for tat, man. The Chicago Bears ain't gonna do shit neither for it. So just to let you know.
So that being said,
bye, Leaf. Take it easy, Leaf. We'll catch you later.
I think I kicked myself out. I can't kick you out. We're talking smack about the Bears.
Good to talk to you, Leaf. We'll catch you next time.
The Bears are going to be 17-0 and win the Super Bowl.
If I could kick you out, I'd kick you out for that right there. That's garbage right there.
No, okay, I'll bring Leaf back in now.
Mm-hmm.
I had to throw that in there because the thing is like he subjected himself to watching 2 all-time great quarterbacks for my team, and now you're about to subject yourself to a 3rd all-time quarterback on my team. As
much as I am a Laker, just so y'all know, for the people, and trust me, this pains me to say because it hurts every single year. As much as I'm a Lakers stan, 100 times more a Bears fan.
Lakers and Bears, how does that mix?
Okay, so I'll tell you. It's actually an easy story. So growing up in Toronto, we didn't have a professional basketball team or a football team. No, the Toronto Argonauts don't count. No, hold on. So when I was young, 1979-ish, you had to pick a team. And the only teams that we were on regular television without like going and finding them like through like we had satellite, so you could find local games from everywhere in the thing. But typically it was Celtics, Sixers, and Lakers. And my cousins one was a Laker fan, one was a Celtic fan, and they're like, you got to pick one. And I'm like, I don't like green.
Oh wow!
Straight up. So I said, I'm gonna be a Laker. So
I love green. So
the next. Well, I was a kid. I didn't know any better. Now it's different. The next year, right? So then we draft Magic. We go to the finals. We win the finals. I'm like, perfect, right? So that becomes my team, and I'm hardwired. The Bears, on the other hand, it is Mike Dick. I want to say it was 83, my first football game I ever saw, and it's Mike Dicka's rookie year coaching. And so you see Mike Dicka with the slick back hair, the sunglasses, he's chomping on his gum, walking up and down the sidelines. Walter Payton rushes for 163 yards. The Bears kick a field goal, beat the Lions in overtime. I'm like,
your boys.
That's my team.
Your boys.
2 years. Listen, you see Walter Payton run, you're like, damn. Then a couple years later, they win the Super Bowl shuffle, the whole right, that defense. And so I'm loyal. So I've stuck with them ever since. So that's the
quick
story.
Nets fan because Vince Carter was my favorite player. So I've been in this since 05. And Packers fan because I was playing with them in a game by the name of Super Tecmo Bowl, and we had a season, so we had to follow that season. So that became my team ever since that. Yeah, Super Tecmo Bowl. That's old school.
Is that the one? If you get Bo Jackson, he can't be stopped.
Oh yeah. That is the one. But we had the other one where Barry Sanders was out of control. We had the one for Super Nintendo. That one.
Barry Sanders was out of control, yo. On Super Nintendo.
Barry Sanders
He was out of control.
He was like, no. It got so crazy. Nobody was allowed to use Detroit.
No, you can't.
Nobody was allowed to use Detroit.
Nah.
No. He's like, yo, use Detroit, bro. Yo, nah, we flipping that. No, you ain't using that.
I can't remember which gaming system it was. However, early 90s, I would pick Detroit, and everyone said, well, oh, you're going to pick Barry Sanders. I said, no, I'll bench Barry Sanders and beat you. And they were like, what? And I would bench Barry Sanders, and because his backup was Mel Gray.
Mel
Gray had a 99 speed, and I could do with him what you do with Bo Jackson. I could run him back to my own end zone and then all the way back for a touchdown every time. One play touchdown, one play touchdown. And all I had to do was stop you once, and I win. Yep. Or have the ball last, either or.
Yeah. But when I started playing with them, I realized that they had Reggie White on the line, and that was a wrap. He got a sack almost like once every 2-3 plays. So that was the wrap for me. Another thing, chill time. I hate to agree with Bob because he's a Tangerine fan, but yeah, you can't be letting what's the dude? You can't be letting Swiper, just make an elbow room on you, man. First off, he's light skinned. You know how I feel about that. That's one. Number two,
I hate to say that. Well, let me pause because
I've been seeing that on occasion. I've been seeing it.
I don't mean to be rude. I don't watch the show. Is it really like that?
It's getting to the point where he's getting a little bit too comfortable, throwing an elbow to, and I don't know. And for as long as I've been talking to Chill, I'm not. And I think Chill can be a gentleman when he wants to. That's why I feel it's my duty to turn him up every now and again. But like Chill can be a gentleman.
Are you too relaxed, Jay?
I don't think so. But if I gotta make some elbow room, because I don't want that logic on me. Because what happens now is that if you think I'm soft, that's gonna be the narrative, and it's not. No.
Yeah, because now it's one person thinking, and then it's two people, and now it's gonna be a whole bunch of. And with all due respect, I have never equated the S word, SOF capital T to your name, and you ain't showing me that, man. So I don't need you showing it just because he likes skinned. So move his monkey ass out the way, stiff arm him a couple of times, bro. Like just slam him down. Excuse my language.
We'll get to the bottom of that.
One more thing before I go. So I got the top 30. This is by some dude named Quincy Hoops. I got the top 30 shooting guards coming into the season. Y'all ready? I'm gonna go real fast.
30?
Number one.
Top 30? Can you give me the top 10?
30 teams. I'll give you top 10. Okay, top 10. Real quick. I got Booker, Spider.
It's already wrong, but go ahead.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's what I said. Ant-Man, Kyrie, Mikal, Bane, White, Levine, Vassell, and CJ McCollum. How y'all feel about that?
Yikes!
Big time yikes.
Have we officially? Did you say Brown?
No. Brown is going to be starting at the 3. These are the Fluent. These are the starting 2s coming into next season.
Yeah, no, I understand. So he's gonna be the starting. I listen, for me, Jaylen Brown's is a 2 and Tatum's a 3. If they're moving them to 3 and 4, okay, but that's not.
It's on. I said the same thing, but I'm guessing they going by depth charts because this list was pretty particular from 1 to 30. But I gave it a 10. It was Booker, Spider, Ant, Kyrie, Mikal, Bane, Derek White, Zach LaVine, Devin Vassell, and CJ McCollum because they got whatchamacallit now. Who was that? They got Murray. They got Murray. DeJounte. Yes, they got so how y'all feeling about that?
You just made the list.
I feel like the shooting guard might be the weakest position in the NBA as well.
Right now, right? I'm like, because just a quick disclaimer: Cam Thomas is number 15. And Grady, who played for the Raptors, is exactly 30. And Terry Rozier is 16. Who was playing a 1 on that team?
I thought it was Terry Rozier. I thought Tyler Hero was their 2 guard. Yeah, I thought Tyler Hero was their 2 guard. But whatever.
And there's nobody. I'm just exactly. I was gonna send it to you, but I was like, you know what? He ain't even gonna give us no type of attention, man. Appreciate it though, man. Y'all tickets stuck, by the way. But yeah, definitely.
NFC West.
Yep.
The Rams, the Seahawks, the Cardinals. I'm not saying the other team because I know you're going to pick them.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. There's 4 teams in the 49ers. There you go. San Francisco is winning the NFC West.
I'm not going to argue. I think not only is San Francisco going to win the NFC West, I think San Francisco is going to have the best record in the NFL, and I think you're going to see a lot more passing out of Brock Purdy. And I think it's because they got to give CMC they can't rely on him so much. They got it. Like they're going to need him later on in the playoffs, whatever. And I don't think they can go crazy with him. In the dirty, that's the South. New Orleans, Tampa Bay, Atlanta, Carolina.
Tone, get on the butterbean train, Tone. Get on it. Get on it, Tone. Get on the butterbean train, Tone. Yes. Tampa's winning that division.
No, it's me solo now. This is going to be Atlanta's going to win this division. I'll bring it back.
Get on the butterbean train,
Listen, Linda. Listen.
You can't handle the truth.
Can't handle it.
Hold on, listen. Last year, Butter had a QB coach that made him look fantastic. That same QB coach the year before made, I forget who, look fantastic. And now he's gone. So you're going to see the return of Butter. And Atlanta, just that defense, the running game. I think they're going to shock a lot of people this year. In the East, now let's do the North. In the North, we got Detroit, Green Bay, Minnesota, the Bears.
The Bears. I'm taking Green Bay. I love Jordan Love. I think he's going to be an All-Pro at some point.
You shouldn't have been talking shit.
And I'm sorry, Tone. I first of all, you got who you needed to get out the division. He's gone already, Tone. Sorry, he's already gone. But they got a new guy in there who's going to be damn good.
Our guy is better. And for the first time ever in the history of the Chicago Bears.
You win in the division?
No, we've won the division before. For the first time in the history of the Chicago Bears, they put a rookie quarterback and gave him some damn weapons.
How about that?
DJ Moore and Keenan Allen are sure-handed receivers. Exactly what a young quarterback needs is veteran receivers. And then this rookie, I can't say his name, but this rookie, Udumze, he looks fed. I can't say my own last name. He looks fantastic. Do you know that I've known Mrs. Fluent since we were 4 years old? I still can't say her last name properly.
Yeah.
Actually, you do know that, but
and by the way, ladies and gentlemen, she has his last name, and she can't
no,
say
she does not have that. Okay, you got Green Bay, I got Chicago. Although Green Bay, why can't they just fall flat on their face? They can't go. They can't have another All-Pro quarterback. They can't go from Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers to another one. No.
It's happening, Tom. Yep.
In the East, your favorite division.
Oh my God.
Philly, Danny No Dimes, Dallas no playoff win, Cowboys, and the Washington. What are they called? Commanders.
It's between Philly and the Cowboys, and the Cowboys did not win the division last year. Oh yes, they did. I'm sorry.
Oh, no one wins that division twice.
Right. So Philly wins it this season.
Philly wins it this season.
Yep,
I agree.
Philly wins it this season.
Jimmy John makes great sandwiches. Have you ever had a Jimmy John sandwich?
I have.
They're delicious. Yes. I don't think that's what he wants to talk to us about.
What up?
Oh, hello.
What up?
Yeah. Speaking of the Cowboys, I was asking another a question. What do you think? What do you think is most likely going to happen in the next 10 years? Do you see the Lakers going back to the finals or the Cowboys going to the Super Bowl?
In the next 10 years?
Yes. What's most likely?
I think it's more likely that the Lakers are in the NBA Finals than the Cowboys, because from what I've seen over the last 10 years, there's no sign that they're going to be in the NBA championship. I mean, in the Super Bowl in the next 10 years. No, I haven't seen that.
I don't even know why I say in the next 10 years. The Lakers are making the championship this year.
Yes.
That's where I'm at with it. Yep.
Yep. Thank you.
All right, brother. Good to talk to you.
That was quick.
Yep.
LeBron James.
If you want me to call you the GOAT, LeBron, bring a chip to the Lakers this year, and I will.
What up?
Salute. Thank you for having me on once again, man. I don't know if you remember me. I had the little debate with y'all about Scottie Pippen and Kawhi defending. That argument, I don't know if I remember. It was a couple of days ago, but shout out to Tone though. I admire you knowing your wife since you were 4 years old. I hope I wish I had that.
Yeah, the whole time. I just knew.
So that's so dope.
That's a blessing. But I want to ask y'all this, and I'm not sure, so I'm gonna ask Fluent this first. Do you have Kobe over LeBron all time?
No,
you don't. Okay, well, I really wanted to bring up the fact that I feel like, and this may be a little harsh, but I don't think so, but I feel like since Kobe Bryant has passed away, that there's been this like agenda to push or overrate him in his ranking all time. And I feel like a lot of people aren't paying attention to that. And also, I just feel like a lot of people who do pick Kobe over LeBron all time are disingenuous. They bring up this biased argument that I used to look into, I used to admire it, but now it's like it's getting corny. Oh, he has killer in him. Like, okay, but just because he has that, you're putting him over LeBron. I don't get it, because prime for prime, he wasn't a better defender. Prime for prime, he didn't peak higher than LeBron James. What exactly are you going off of? Okay, rings. Going off of rings. Well, Bill Russell has more rings than Michael Jordan, but we don't say Bill Russell was the GOAT over Michael. Well, a lot of us don't say that Bill Russell was the GOAT over Michael Jordan. Now, do we?
Nope.
No, it's a lot more context.
Some do, but yeah. Not
some do. When you line up LeBron James' resume to a Michael Jordan, I think he's literally, to me, the only person who stacks up. Then you could put Kareem in there as well, because he stacks up as well.
Right.
Kobe Bryant, if you look at his resume, great resume, all-time great resume, top 10 all-time resume, but not top 3. I don't know where this agenda started, that Kobe Bryant is a top 3 player of all time. What do you think about that?
So listen, Kobe's my second favorite player all time on my favorite team. And I don't have him over LeBron, although once upon a time I did, because I don't have active players in my rankings.
Just one guy. He actually has one guy.
I made an exception for one guy for obvious reasons. Mm-hmm. So that was the only time that one would have been over the others, because the other wasn't in the list. So let me just go through all the things you said. One, since his death, people have been overrating him. I don't think that's the case. I think it's more since he died, people have been going back and looking and watching and doing more kind of appreciation, right? Like I feel like a lot of players, and I get accused of this, but it's not true. Of like when people are in the moment, like we're watching how great LeBron James is, and we don't appreciate how great he is because we're watching it in the moment. I think the same thing with Jordan. We didn't fully appreciate what we were watching in the moment. And I think with Kobe, I don't think we appreciated how great he was in the moment. And now that he's gone, there's some emotion to it, and people are going back and watching, being like, wow. For those people that have him, so let me go through each one thing that you said. So that's the first thing. The second thing, you talk about the killer kind of instinct, the Mamba mentality. He 100% had it more than maybe anyone ever in the history of basketball. And it is important, that killer instinct, that mentality, that whatever. What people who use that, however, and this is coming from a Kobe guy, what people forget to mention is, I think he passed that in the Olympics to LeBron, and LeBron had it too. Not as much before, but after that Olympics, he sure as hell did. After 2011, when he realized, if I'm not the man, we ain't winning. I think 2012 on, we saw a different LeBron James, and he had it. And so to say one had it and one didn't, that's disingenuous. One had it, kind of passed it on to the other. Because don't forget, Kobe really liked LeBron. And that's something that people who have this argument don't remember, is he did like him. And he helped him because he liked him, much like, Jordan wouldn't have helped anybody else. But what did you see when they were playing against each other every once in a while? Jordan with his arm around him, passing knowledge. Then you hear the stories of 3 in the morning phone conversations, text messages about them passing on information. Like, that's, great recognizes great. And I think outside people looking don't appreciate that part of it. So I think LeBron needed it and got it. And so I don't think that's a big argument. For those that have him top 3, again, I don't. As you know, Jay has him 11. I think that's a little low. I have him 5, which I know is
come on, chill.
I have him at 5, but I admit, again, admittedly, he's my second best favorite player, or not best, second favorite player. So, is he 5, 6, 7, 8? Yeah, I think that's the right place. I think you have him anywhere 7 to 11. I have him anywhere from 5 to 8. So there's a middle ground there where I think we all agree. Sure. The argument for having him 3rd has to be, and can only be, if Jordan is your 1 and he's the next best thing to him, he can't be that far away. Right. And I think that's not my, but I can see how, if you have Jordan far and away as your 1.
Can I interrupt you really, really quick for my bad?
You can see it.
The thing with that is, people say, he's the next big thing to Michael Jordan. But when you really into the value of the two, that's the biggest difference. The advanced stats separate them by far. The efficiency separates them. You know what I'm saying?
But if you don't look at advanced, really does. If you don't look at advanced stats, and when someone brings up like shooting percentage, and you go back and watch the tape and say, well, yeah, his field goal percentage is low, which hurts his advanced stats. But that's also because in that triangle offense with 3 seconds left, it was kick it to Kobe and hope he makes a shot. And that hurts his field goal percentage. So like when you watch a lot of those games, look, he took some bad.
Are you talking about when he was with Shaq, or when he was without Shaq?
Without.
Oh, okay. And this is the last thing I want to ask you guys. No, pretty much make a statement about is, because I Draymond Green is what I want to talk about. Draymond Green, I know he's a very controversial person. I don't like him at times, but I think something that gets undervalued and underappreciated with Draymond Green is his brilliance, not only on offense, but on defense. He runs the show on offense and defense. I watched this man literally study guys' game and be able to break their whole game down so his team can be able to defend. And Kevin Durant is that example. I watched him break down Kevin Durant's whole game, right? And tell his guys, KD shoots at a 54% clip right here. Stay right here with the man is brilliant. I think he'll be a great coach in the NBA, and people act like he wasn't needed with Golden State with Stephen Clay. They act like, he just got carried. He wasn't needed. You could put anybody in Draymond's spot. That's factually incorrect, bro. Factually incorrect. That's really understating his genius, bro. He's not a crazy talented defender like most of the defenders we've seen, but it's really IQ with Draymond Green more so than anything.
I agree and disagree. So you can't be a second round pick, not be overly athletic, and be as good on the offensive and defensive end as he has been without having an immense, crazy IQ. So I agree with the IQ part. The only and that they needed him. They absolutely needed him to play that role that he played, or they don't win. I agree with that. Him being a coach, however, hell no.
I don't think he's got the patience for it.
He does not have the temperament. He's way too.
I agree with y'all on that. But
does he have the brain for it? Does he have the brain for it? Yes.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
You can't. The Bobby Knight, throwing chairs across, like that kind of coach doesn't work anymore. So I disagree.
That's what an individual, like coaching guys, individual, like when Garnett would work
one-on-one,
with Griffin,
one-on-one coaching.
Like doing stuff like that. Now I don't think that. And just so you know, X, I'm a big man merchant. I've always been a big man merchant. The big man is the best player to ever play in the game. So that's why I have Bryant where I have him. And for the record, when he retired in 2016, ESPN came out with a top 100 ranking. They had him at 12. I had him at 11. So with that being said, I have no problem with you having him anywhere between 7 and 11. None.
Yeah.
To try to convince me that he's the third best player or the second best player in NBA history. And Tone got him top 5. And Tone actually came up with a really good argument of why he had him at top 5. But I'm a big man merchant, and me being a big man merchant, I love the big man. I think the big man is the best player to ever play, and I laid down exactly why I think the big man is better. And that's the thing, right? That's why people hate us. Like, it's a smart show, and we don't fight because you understand why I have him at 5. I understand why you have him at 11. You make very good points, and the fact that he's the gatekeeper for the top 10, I think, is actually, like, I forget who brought that up, but I was like, that's actually pretty brilliant. Yeah, SB Sports. He's like, that's the reason why you got him at 11, because you got him as the gatekeeper now. So whoever is they got to beat him. I was like, damn, I didn't even think about it like that.
Yeah,
but
I
don't hate that. I don't hate that. But X, good to talk to you, though, brother.
Appreciate you, brother.
Thank you, man.
Good to talk to you.
Appreciate you. We have one last super chat, and then we are gonna bounce out of here. Coming to us from Ryan Fields, no relation to Justin, or maybe there is, I don't know. Who's the better point guard all time? I already know your answer. And separate, who's the better defender, Chris Paul or John Stockton?
Stockton better. I think Chris Paul, he's got more of the all-league defensive accolades, but Stockton, I feel like, was when you're thinking about league guards during that time, Stockton's ability off the basketball, Stockton's ability on the basketball, I think to be honest with you, I think it's damn good. And he was even better off the ball. That's why he had the ability that he had, being able to steal the ball, not just digging down from big guys, but also ball pressure when he's dealing with a guy right in front of him. Stockton was one of the best defensive playmakers that I've ever seen. I think Chris Paul I think you can make the argument Chris Paul may be a better player, but I think Stockton's a better league guard, and I don't think it's a question in my mind.
I'm with you. I'm less high on John Stockton as you are, but Stockton over Chris Paul. It's interesting that this question came up. It wasn't a setup. I wish I would have kept it now that this has come up, but there's this video that's circulating right now, and it's old because you can see that the footage is old, and it's Isaiah Thomas, Magic Johnson, Charles Barkley, Scottie Pippen. There's a couple of coaches. There's some other players in there too, talking about what a fierce, like, competitor, player, defender John Stockton, like, talking about you don't think he's a good jump shooter because he didn't shoot a lot. Nah, he can knock down shots when he had to. Right. But no one understood how to run an offense. Like, they were asking, who would you want? David Robinson. Like, there's a ton of guys in this. Patrick Ewing. They're like, who would you want running your offense? You have to pick one player to run your offense, and each and every one of them was like Stockton.
Yes.
And now a lot of them are big men saying, I want Stockton because
they know they get the ball. They know that. Absolutely.
Right. And it's so relevant because just today I was having a conversation with Fluent Jr., and as you know, he plays 2 years up for his rep team.
Yeah.
And I'm like, look, you're because you're playing with guys, everybody's 2 years older than you. They're all going to be bigger, stronger, faster, jump higher, whatever, for the most part. What can you do different? Well, what does everybody want to do? Well, they want to play one-on-one. They want to and score and right? Because that's where I always say kids grow. I was just saying this to Mrs. Fluent. I was like, kids, when they grow, what do? You're sitting there at a court in your backyard, wherever you shoot, you're by yourself.
Right.
And so that's what you work on. I go, be that guy that loves passing. Well, he already loves defending. So that's something I never did, as you know. So I don't know where he got that from. He's already got the defensive stuff down. He is like, I mean, he's come to my runs and defended guys like men, and because he's so low, they're like, can you get this little kid off me?
10 years old. He's only 10, by the way, guys.
Like a little Wolverine. And I told at my camp, the Sports Fluent Hoop Academy, he was running with the freshmen and sophomores, high school freshmen and sophomores. He was running the point for their team. And so I said, with this team now, because we're moving to a new team, I said, that's what I want you to be. I go, if you can get guys wide open layups and or threes, whatever they like it, like you become that guy, trust me, you'll get your shot. And then I said, watch from John Stockton.
There you go.
Because that, I think, is dead. It's a lost art. It's a lost
league guard. 100% it is, Tone. The league guard, I mean, he's a dinosaur now. I mean, the league guard is more Gilbert Arenas. He's Steve Francis today. He's that guy, the scoring league guard. And the guy at like Trae Young, like guys like that. I mean, Trae Young was 27 and 11 assists, and he can't make an all-star team. I mean, because he passes as much as he does. Yeah, he does stuff that can hurt an offense, but for the most part,
yeah. But you're telling me
if a primary distributor like that,
if he passed less and got 6 assists and averaged 35, he's better. I don't think that makes him better.
No, it does not. No, it doesn't.
So yeah, so if you have a guy who just everybody is like, if I had to pick someone to run my listen, you know Isaiah,
right?
Isaiah's saying that,
right?
The guy who was left off the dream team, well, because of some personalities, but also it was John Stockton who took that role, that spot, like, and he's giving him praise. I just, as a big man, you're a big man merchant. They love playing with you. David Robinson eyes lit up. He's like, oh, John Stockton. He's like,
hell yes, because I know I'm gonna get the ball. I know for a fact I'm gonna get the ball playing with him. So
he would have been Karl Malone.
Yes.
Oh man, I got no more voice left. I don't even have any water.
Uh-oh. Ladies and gentlemen, we are at the end. It was good to see you guys tonight. We will see you guys soon. But until then, put on a suit, drink water, don't drink and drive. Hey, man, call your mother. Well, last time you talk to your mother, and call your father, too. If you haven't spoken to your father, call your father, too. We will see you guys soon. You know where to find us. We will see you guys soon. But until then, take it light, but take it.